I was wondering why I should switch from Windows ME to XP.
Now, before I tell you the answer to that, tell me what you're looking for. Do you want an excuse to get Dad to pony up the money for XP?
I just want...
Or are you just really curious about the difference?
Yeah.
I personally, first of all, it's expensive. Okay, we're talking about $100 or more to buy the upgrade from ME to XP. But I do think, and this is a worthwhile upgrade. Now, I am not one of those guys who says always upgrade. In fact, Patrick and I were telling everybody don't upgrade to Windows ME because we thought that was not a worthwhile upgrade from Windows 98. However, I do think Windows XP is a worthwhile upgrade. Why? Well, because it's moving you off of the old, unreliable Windows 98 core technology to the much more reliable, modern Windows NT core technology. NT doesn't crash as much. In fact, it crashes almost never. It's much more reliable, much more stable, and Microsoft has finally made the commitment that they're moving everybody off of Windows 95, 98, and ME and onto the XP platform. So what's that mean? That means that hardware and software are going to start to require XP over the next couple of years. And I really just think XP is a lot better. So it is more reliable. Do you have to have it? No way, Ethan. It's a lot of money. If ME's working for you just fine, I'd stay with ME. But if you're getting a lot of crashes, if you have some unreliable performance, if you want to get the best out of your computer, and you have enough, make sure you read the system requirements. You should have at least a 500 megahertz processor. I'd say at least 128 megs of RAM. Do you have that?
Yep.
Okay. How much RAM do you have?
300 something.
You're a power user, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, you might be the right guy for XP. You could certainly save some money and get XP Home. There's no reason to get XP Pro for you, okay?
Okay.
So if you need an excuse, I'll write you a slip to give to Dad, but I think XP is a worthwhile upgrade. It is expensive, but you're going to get some benefit from it.
Well, my dad says it has a lot of viruses, but I don't...
XP is no different than ME in that regard, the same viruses. XP is no less secure than ME. In fact, it's considerably more secure.
I know, I've been telling him that.
Well, Dad, see, I knew you needed to get permission from me for Dad, didn't you? I knew that. Thanks, Ethan. Josh on the phone from Sugar Land, Texas. We're taking the Sugar Land Express. Hey, Josh.
Hi. I was wondering about hard drive cloning because I'm getting a new hard drive for my birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Well, now, there are a couple of ways you can do this. Cloning means you're going to take the old one out. Are you going to take the old one out?
I'm going to... Well,
I'd keep the old.
Take it out.
I'd keep it if you've got room for it, because why not have extra room?
Well, I got extra room, but my brother, he's only got like 2 gigabytes on his computer. I just built up for him.
So you're going to give it to him?
Yeah, he needs it.
Oh, you're nice. That's a nice brother.
Yeah, last time I did this in the summer, I just used a boot disk to copy and paste it because I didn't feel like going through all this imaging stuff.
That's a lot of work, though.
Oh, yeah, I don't have time for that during the school year. I'm like a big computer geek, so I got it to work.
You know you can do a direct cable connection between the two boxes and just copy the stuff over. It's like a little network using a direct cable connection cable, okay? So you just plug the two together and turn on direct cable connection in both systems, and then you'll see the hard drive in one. You just copy everything over. Then you don't have to go back and forth. So that's an easy way to do it. If you really want to do good cloning, I like this particular product. It's called Aloha Bob's PC Relocator. It comes with the cable you need, and it does a remarkable job. It's so good that it will even allow you to go from, say, ME to XP. It will copy just the right files, no more and no less. Now, this is not free. I mean, it's I can't remember exactly how much it is. It's under $100. Let's see. We'll see if we can buy it. But I'll tell you, oh, look, $49, $39 for the downloaded version, and you can get an extra cable if you don't have a USB cable for $30. Problem is, it's something you do, once in a while. You don't do it all the time, but this is a great way to do it.
Right.
If you don't want to do that, just do a DCC, or you can even use the cheapest way to use a null what they call a reverse. What do they call those cable? The Ethernet. Not no modem, for an Ethernet. Crossover cable. Thank you. What's your name?
Patrick.
Patrick. You use a crossover cable. You connect the two together. You can buy that for about 20 bucks in the computer store. And then it's just a network, and you just copy one of the other. But that's not quite cloning, because you have to know what you're doing. This automatically copies one of the other. I love it. Aloha Bob PC Relocator.
How much did you say that was?
It's $39.99.
Oh, yeah, I guess I can afford that.
It's worth it, Josh.
Yeah.
It'll save you so much. It just does it overnight.
Yeah. Oh, copying them manually was about as frustrating as my
I mean, how much is your time worth,
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. Thank you, Josh.
All right, thanks.
Have a great day. Thank you for calling the Screensavers. Coming up next, Megan prepares herself. Could be scary for the very first Linux install when the Screensavers continues. Hold on to her. Hold on. She's losing it. She's losing it. Oh
You can add borders to blocks of data in Microsoft Excel. Click this button to add a bottom, top, or sides to your selected cells.
Yes,
We've seen your
are
102nd
disgusted.
use.
Yes.
It's illegal in 44 states. I don't get it.
I wasn't even listening. I'm too concentrated on this, my first Linux install.
You're practically frantic. I've never
Yes.
seen you quite like this before.
So let's take a look at the screen. I stuck the disk. We got 2 disks that we burned the other day, and I stuck one in there, and now here it is on the screen. I don't know if we can see it because we don't have the video card installed, so we can't get scan out. But
Look at
there
that!
it
The folks at
is.
home can see it too.
And this is so easy. This is easier than I ever imagined. You can see the right here, there's little stars, and each time you complete one of those steps, the star turns green. So we said what country, what language, and now we're going to do the recommended install instead of the expert.
I got a question for you, Megan.
Yes.
Is this a machine? Is there anything else on this machine?
No, no,
okay.
no.
So this is a machine you've dedicated
Yes.
specifically for Linux.
Yes.
It's a wonderful way to start your Linux install. I got another question for you. Did you do this off of a bootable CD-ROM?
Yes.
So it just booted right up?
It did.
No problem.
Yeah, that was the part that we did during the commercial break.
So what do we
behind
got up
the
there?
scenes. Now we have the partitioning question. We are going to actually erase the entire disk because we are installing it just plain by itself. If you have Windows, you got to partition. Do not choose this if you're also installing Windows, or you'll delete everything.
Woohoo.
Say it's warning you that. I just told you that. All right, so now.
Well, it wants to make sure. It's a kind
Yes,
of gentle
it is.
Linux
I mean, this
installation.
could not be easier. If anyone is afraid to install Linux, then don't be. Trust me. So it would say it's please wait, formatting partition.
I think this is a good time to swing back. Folks, we're going to check back
Yes.
with Megan later after she's partitioned and installed, but you can check her progress at any time by going directly to thescreensavers.com and reading the blog she's posting live during the show. Ladies and gentlemen,
Minute by
live
minute.
Linux, second by second.
Yes.
Find out, you know what, coming up next, find out how one digital filmmaker impressed singer Liz Phair enough to make her latest music video. You could do it too. You know what? You can learn how if you stick around.
Use MSN to get online. Use it to plan a fishing.
This half hour, Morgan is going to show you how to change the default settings of Microsoft Word to suit yourself just a little bit better. Plus, if you can't decide whether to upgrade, if you're a Final Cut Pro user, to the new version 3, we'll take a look at what's new and whether it's worthwhile. And if you've never used a high-end video editing program, you're going to want to watch, because this is neat stuff. Mark DeVito will be here to show us. Our next guest is a digital filmmaker, a member of the Directors Bureau Online. We've had him on before talking about his own work, and most recently he produced and directed Liz Phair in her latest video with really some neat techniques. Welcome back to the Screensavers, Rodney Asher.
Thanks.
Good to have you. Liz Phair is a pretty avant-garde musician, so I guess when they do video for somebody like that, it's got to be groundbreaking.
Well, that's that's what they're hoping for.
Got to
yeah.
be completely different.
Sure.
What did they tell you that they wanted? Did they come to you and say, let's do something different, or what?
Well, it was kind of interesting because Liz had been looking at a couple people's work when they were trying to, first figure out what they were going to do for the song, and she had liked something that I had done earlier when she asked me, if I could do something kind of like that, only better for her. Of course, I said yes.
Sure.
Yes.
I think so. So what was the technique that you used?
Well, it's something I do with still photographs. I shoot a million stills, and then in Photoshop, I cut them into layers, and then After Effects, I move the layers around to
So
try
it
to
looks
simulate.
3D, kind of? There's multi-planes?
Yeah, well, I try to simulate the kind of parallax distortion and depth of field that you get, in a regular motion picture shoot.
So these are the still photos that you started with of a parade in Chinatown.
Right.
And the video, you're going to see in a little bit, incorporates these. In fact, the video doesn't have any motion in it, does it?
Well, there's like 1 second of like a little foreground object, but yeah, almost the entire video is just still photos moving layer by layer.
Look at this. It really gives you, because you're using these layers, a really interesting like that car looks like it's moving past these people. Is that 2 separate images?
Well, a lot of these are combined from 2, 3, 4, even more. And what I do is when they're from a similar place, I'll cut out the car, and I'll cut out the crowd, and I'll cut out the people in front, and then move them, in relation to each other, make them get bigger, smaller.
What do you use to do this?
I do most of the animation in After Effects, but 99% of the work is what I do in Photoshop to get everything ready.
To get the individual images masked out, in effect.
Well, yeah, so, if it's a picture of, like Liz there in front of the bleachers, I would cut her out, in Photoshop.
Right.
Use as much of the picture I have behind to replace it. There's that magic wand tool, that rubber stamp tool in Photoshop.
And then now you're putting
to
her in
clone everything behind her so that I can move
Look
her
at
in
this.
relation
This is the
to
video
her.
now.
Yeah.
And she also sings. You've got pictures of her of different mouth shapes, right?
Yeah, well, there were 2 sections of the song that we wanted her to have some lip sync for.
Right.
And since we're doing stills, that's an obvious challenge. But the system that me and the person I was working for, Trisha, came up with were to write down all the words that we wanted her to sync up to and break it down into the phonemes. So down would turn into d, w, n. So we would have a checklist and we would have her assume each one of these positions, and we would check it off and do it 2 or 3 times.
She's pretty cooperative?
Yeah, well, she was really into the process. She was really excited about it.
That's neat.
Yeah.
And did you take them with the digital? Oh, there she is. Here she's singing.
No, I used a 35mm film
This is
camera.
film?
Yeah.
Then you would then scan in, or?
Yeah, we scanned the negatives, so then we
How come you didn't go digital?
Well, there was a little bit of R&D on it. Eventually, for me, I wasn't able, as the project came together kind of quick, to get one of the newer digital cameras that had a really good latitude for shooting at night, because I wanted, like this
That's
scene,
a
I wanted
problem
it to
with
be dark.
all digital stuff. It doesn't have the full tonal range of film does. So if you have something that's very contrasty or has a big dynamic range, you can't capture it very well in digital.
Because we were working with such a small crew and I didn't have any lighting and I just wanted to be kind of spontaneous, I brought film that went from 100 to 1600 ASA and just worked with whatever light was around us.
It's a very different way to, quote, shoot a video is to take a lot of stills. How much of it do you have to have in your head, though? I mean, this is you're going to create a whole video out of this. You got probably, Liz, you got for 1 day or 2 days. You can't go back, right?
Yeah, no, I had it for a day. I mean, part of the approach for the video is I wanted it to feel very spontaneous.
Yeah.
So although I had ideas of what I wanted to shoot and I had scouted out the location and I kind of knew what was going to be happening when, it would be more an idea of, okay, well, we'll have her walking through the crowd at the beginning of the parade, and we'll take 4 rolls of film there, and we'll do this little sequence in this bar in Chinatown afterwards. So there were like 10 or 15 sequences that I wanted to do, but they were very general, loose guidelines for what we would get on the set. And I have 50, 60 rolls of film. I was able to pick the sequences that worked the best and eject what I didn't use. So no one knew what it was going to be until it was finished.
So you use Photoshop to mask out the parts that you want. Then you use After Effects to put them together and to animate them. That's how you do the layering and the planes.
That's right.
And then what do you do? How do you output it from After Effects?
Well, because I was doing this, in my own little studio, I did it in Final Cut, and I would export from After Effects QuickTime with the DV compression, import it into Final Cut and match it to the song, and was able to look at it in speed and output it to tape from there.
Wow. And the quality's good enough for broadcast. I mean, it looks great. That's pretty remarkable. So all done, and I don't want to give a little plug here, but that was all done on a Mac then?
All done on Mac, exclusively on a Mac.
Said with pride.
Yeah.
And how did Liz Fair feel about being animated this way?
Oh, well, she really dug it, and it was what she had wanted from the beginning. So.
She was happy with the final result. You can see the video on the Capitol Records website if you want to see the whole thing at capitolrecords.com. And most of the airplay for this, because she's such an avant-garde artist, it's not on MTV, is it? I mean, is it mostly on the website? Or
yeah, I think right now, at least it's premiered on the website.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll make it to MTV.
Maybe.
If everybody gets online and says, hey, we want to see Liz. She's so great.
Oh, she is.
One of my favorite artists, and it's a neat way to video her stuff, and it really fit. It really worked. It had to be different for her. Rodney, great. Thanks for coming in and telling us about that. Really fun. If you want to see some of those still pictures that Rodney took before they were added into the video, we've posted them at thescreensavers.com. We've also got storyboards and sketches that made the project happen, and we'll link you to the final video on the Capitol Records site. I encourage you, if you go look at this whole process. It's really an amazing process, a real work of art. Thank you, Rodney. Microsoft Word. Oh, what was that? You were going to show us something?
Well, there were other little bits of
Oh,
how
man. Well,
you
got to come back. We'll do
All
it
right.
Microsoft Word holds many deep, dark secrets. Forget your crystal ball. Morgan's here to reveal
9,000 of the
features.
9,004 features in Word.
But actually, there are some pretty cool features. I've been looking around. There's some features that...
One.
I'm going to name 2.
2? Whoa.
Okay.
What was that?
I'm getting interested, upset about this.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing is, every time you open Microsoft Word, it opens into Times New Roman 10 point. Who uses that font?
Not me.
I don't use that font.
Nuh-uh.
And yes, I sit there and I change it every single time.
Why?
Because it's so embarrassingly easy to change it. So today, I'm encouraging everyone, just change your default font, please.
Do it, do it, do it, do it.
Okay, so we go to Format, Font, and then I'm going to change it to, Skellington Bats, bold, 18 point. Sweet.
Well,
Okay.
we highly recommend you change your font. This is not the font we highly recommend you change it to.
Okay, you guys are no fun. I'm going to change it to Arial, which I actually use all the time, and I'm going to change it to 12 point.
Good for short notes, not good for longer documents due to eye strain. No serifs on this font.
So we're
You
just
tell I'm
going
a geek,
to...
Leo? Leo's laughing in the
I'm
background.
impressed.
Hurting on that.
It's okay.
Okay, and then so I'm going to hit yes. We do want to change the default font.
Woohoo!
Yes.
That's number one. You said you
That's
had
number
two fabulous
I
features.
do have two. I'm going to go over this really quickly.
Okay.
There's lots of little clicks and steps. They hide it a little bit too much. So this is my letter. This is my letterhead, the Morgan Webb Company Group.
I like it.
Thank you. I'm a professional. So then we're just going to make a new style here. So we'll just go up to where it says heading 2. I want to make this my own style. It's my own company color. It's my own company font. It's everything
So
that
it's
I
almost
want.
like a letterhead, a letter plate for you.
Exactly, and I want it to be available to
Stationary.
me every time I use it.
Very nice.
So I'm just going to call it Morgan because it's for the Morgan Webb Company Group.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. I'm going to hit enter.
That's going to fight you every step of the way.
We're
I like that. It's a good name.
Well, we're having keyboard issues again, but all then you have to do after that is you go to Style, and you modify the style you just made. You have to add it to the template. You have to hit OK.
And then it becomes a template. You can use it
And then
every time.
every time you open Word, it's going to be there.
Ladies and gentlemen,
There's a lot of little steps in there, but trust me, it's pretty easy. You're smart. You'll figure it out.
yet another brilliant victory against Feature Glut for Morgan Webb and the Screensavers. If you have any Windows tip ideas, email Morgan at techtv.
The buttons and check the boxes. See how easy? Check, check, check.
They're moving, they're shaking, they're making hardware, well, hardware, software, though, is the big place. iPhoto,
Hardware
iMovie.
too, though.
Well, Final Cut Pro, I understand, one of the latest developments of the release of their cutting-edge, their popular editing software. Our Mark DeVito, he has extensive experience in video editing. He's going to join us. He's going to give us the scoop. What's the deal, Mark? Welcome to the Screensavers. But what's the deal, Mark?
Thank you.
Let's get
What's
this
the deal?
welcoming out of the way.
Well, the deal is this is probably the latest and greatest, solution that we've seen in a long time for editing, and something from Apple. And I think that the best part about it is it's supported now in Mac OS X, which is the big thing.
So is it native to Mac OS X?
It's native to Mac OS X. So when you get the CD in your box, you're going to be able to install it in two different places.
Okay.
So actually, we have the OS 9 one up right now, but you have two different variations to do that with.
Very nice.
Which is probably the coolest thing, and with a lot of the people who have bought the new 867s or the dual 800s, this is the upgrade that we've been looking for.
The smoking, screaming, just cut your day down into
Right.
shorten faster everything.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's just everything about it is just super cool.
What are the biggest changes?
Well, the biggest changes for the interface itself aren't so dramatic.
Okay.
As far as it goes with the interface, a lot of the Final Cut users who've been using it since version 1, 1.2, are going to find it to be almost the same, except for what I've set up here, which is it's called 3-up. So in the arrange, which is a popular way to move. In fact, if you had two monitors here, you'd be able to arrange to like dual screen editing.
Very
but
nice.
3-up is a way to get your preview, your which is your source, your record monitor, which they call it your canvas, and then this thing, which is a live vector scope and a waveform monitor.
For myself and the other less sophisticated video editors in the home audience,
Right.
what is a vector scope and why do I care?
Well, this is why the upgrade is for the professional user so key. The last versions have had vector scopes and waveform monitors to be used for video levels, for broadcast levels, for for your whites and for your color levels.
Okay.
But this time it's actually doing it in real time, which is super cool. Now, the big real-time features that Final Cut's encompassing now are only really being seen in Mac OS 10.
Okay.
So if you want to have real-time dissolves and real-time things happening in your timeline, you're going to need Mac OS 10 and 10.1.2, not even just 10.1, which is another upgrade, and then you have to go to Apple's website, download that upgrade, and if you download it on another computer and try to install it on the computer at home and burn it to a CD or something, you can't do it. You have to actually physically do it, downloading it in Mac OS 10. So if you have 56K modem,
safety tip.
Yeah.
Install OS 10, preferably 10.1, download 10.1.2, then you can finally install this.
Then you can install this and use all these features. But so, I mean, so this is, you know, for the broadcast user or for the professional user, it is a good thing. And even for the home user to know your video levels are going to be seen and they're going to be clear and everything. Final Cut Pro 3 tries to do it all for everybody. So it's
do it all for everybody. Well, how much? What's the cost of the upgrade?
The upgrade is only, I think it's either $249 or $299, but it's under $300.
Okay.
And it's so well worth it. I mean, just besides that, even in the transitions with Boris effects, which is something that Avid has been in cahoots with for years, they have now matched widths, and some of their famous transitions and filters and everything are all seen right in here. Yeah. So when you upgrade, you'll get all these cool new transitions, cool new filters, and
the vector scope. If
you'll get the vector scope, you'll get all these things. You'll get the real-time editing if you're in OS 10. And it's just an easy solution for people who want to edit video at home. I mean, the cool thing is that
one last question. It's $1,000 if I'm going to buy this for myself.
Right.
If I'm happy with iMovie, who should be considering upgrading to this? Outside for the non-professionals, should we drop the grand?
Yeah, I think you should.
Whoa.
And the only reason I say that is because I think that once you start
it enthusiastically,
I say it enthusiastically. I'm an avid Mac user, and I really feel as though you know, to be able to do these things that you can't do in iMovie, iDVD, they're all great programs, but for people who really want to customize the way that they do things and not use the backgrounds that come with it and really be able to play with it and really feel as though they're being an artist.
So if you want to look like a pro, you need professional
You need
tools.
it. And for $1,000, to be honest with you, I mean,
it's cheap.
Avid systems are very expensive, and so this is the best solution we've seen in a long time.
Mark, I thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, scamper, run, crawl, mambo on over to the screensavers. Brandwood.
I love him.
Some of the latest tech jargon. Find out what parasitic computing is, like little remora on Leo's face. Plus, Mark uncovers the strangest Star Trek fan signs for his top 5 list.
It's going to be fun.
It should be fun.
I'm going to New York, you know, on Monday. I'm going to do the live with Regis and Kelly again on Wednesday the 23rd.
Again?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're not mad at me, are you? You're not mad at me, are you? I'm not. You know, I don't want to be unfaithful to you, Patrick. But
what about, you know, the viewers?
I know. I feel
about the rest
terrible.
of the screensavers?
I'll be back Thursday.
But you're not going to pass up the chance to 5 first class, stay in a fabulous hotel, suck down wine, and party with Regis once again.
He is a party animal. Let me tell you something. Speaking of party animals, let's check in with the 5 folks over at Tech Live to see what's coming up tonight. News anchor Michaela Pereira joins us from the Tech Live set. Hey, Michaela.
Until Tennessee in hopes of attracting a husband. Take a look. It's not a lie. Look at the heart goes around when you move the mouse. Isn't that great? But if buying a billboard is far too embarrassing to you, why not consult the services of a little company called Coincidence Design? Look at this. She is the perfect woman, stunningly attractive, walks gracefully, dresses tastefully. You see her in the street. You notice her around. Who is she?
Who is she?
You gotta find out. Well, that's what Coincidence Design is gonna tell you. She's your dream wife. And you're rich. You drive a great car. You live in a mansion, but you can't stalk this woman even though you want her.
She's my dream wife.
That's why you hire Coincidence to do it for you. They'll set up a coincidence so they can arrange for the two of you to first meet, say, at a convention, and then a few weeks later you end up just coincidentally sitting next to each other on the same transatlantic flight.
Brilliant!
Isn't it great? So, how much
work?
does it cost? I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I'm saving up, though. Let's talk about the costs. Phase 1 is research, thorough background check, identify subject. They're going to tell you, you know, if she's an addict, if she's a kitchen drinker, if she's one of those fatal attraction type psychos. How much is that going to cost? $8,000. That's phase 1. Let's move to phase 2 of the investigation. They compile a complete dossier of her interest and experience. They consult their old college roommates. They talk to coworkers.
She's not going to get wind to any of this?
They get everything. So that when you meet her in, say, an elevator, you know that she hates pumpkin pie, but she loves the Smashing Pumpkins.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that's how you get the conversation going. How much does that cost? 45 grand.
Oh, man. That's okay. We're up to 12,500.
Finally, the execution, based on all the information, you set up the meeting and everything.
The coincidental meeting.
The coincidental meeting, and you see if it works. That's the most difficult part. Costs $25,000 to do that. Total cost, $78,000. And, you know, all day I've been asking my coworkers at
his wife fund.
techtv to pitch in. And
you got a candy wrapper and 17 cents.
Thanks a lot, techtv. The candy wrapper. Smarties. Morgan!
Be sure to send your Sight of the Night suggestions and wife money to support Martin in his quest for a wife to martin@techtv.com. No, please don't send him money. It just encourages him. Megan, how's that Linux install going?
I am just about rebooted. I'm very excited. This was so easy. One thing I wanted to mention right after the break, Leo actually recommended that you can choose the advanced. I chose recommended because I felt like I was a real newbie here. So, but advanced is safe, and then you get to choose some more options. It took about 30 minutes, and then after 15 minutes, I had to put the second disc in. So it'll say, you know, 15 minutes left, and if you come back, it'll just, you might lose some time because that's 15 minutes in the whole install, not just for that disc. Then it was all done, and I set the root password, and that's about where I am now. I set some users, just the people I like get to use this Linux machine. You're in there, Leo, don't worry. And then it recognized my hardware, which was very cool. And it was on a server, and we set it up to do that. And now it's just asking me for my root password. So, you know, I want to leave a little bit till the end, you know. So back to you guys.
Password on air.
No. So hopefully I'll have some programs up and running, too, by the end.
Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. This is fun. I mean, we did, I think, the first live Linux install on television ever about 2 years ago.
I'm pretty sure we've done the only live Linux install on television.
No one's ever done it.
Letterman, are you out there? We're ready to install Linux on your show.
Coming up next, is your car pre-slammed? Do you have any idea what pre-slammed means? Gareth Brownwin's here to teach us some new tech jargon on the screensavers. Get us an email from Chris. I'd like to know how to set up a spy cam that works up like the Cube Cam on your website. You know what that is, the Cube Can. You're on the Cube Can this week.
Or at least my cubicle is.
It's basically the idea is you hook up a camera to a computer. It could be one of these webcams, could be a regular camera, could be a camcorder. And it sends, then you have software running on the computer that captures it at a regular interval, like every 30 seconds, and then uploads it to a website. Of course, you got to have a website. You got to have a net cam, and you got to have the software. So let's show you how we do it on CubeCam. Actually, on CubeCam, we use a program called SpyCam, which I used for a long time. And the advantage of SpyCam is it's cheap. It's about $5, but it does not work with all cameras. So I'm going to recommend software that I use on my site called Webcam 32. And you can see right here, I've got Webcam 32 running. This is a somewhat older version, but you get the idea. I got a picture of Fred coming into me now through the camera. And what I'll do is I'll set it up. Now, the trick on this is setting it up to point to an FTP site. You need the name of the site. If it's a private site, you'll obviously need a password, so forth and so on. You'll tell it the interval. The default interval, and a really common interval, is every 30 seconds. And then you'll upload it to that website. And what's nice about this software is every 30 seconds, it's going to take another image from the webcam and upload it. I'll show you. I've got a webcam going on my website. This is the Leoville cam here. Let me just open this up so we can see it. And we actually have 4 spy cams running on here. This is one that I have in my house, which is not on obviously right now because I'm here and you wouldn't see anything if it were on. This was the one that we actually have running right now on my PowerBook right here. This is another one that we've got running on the set, and this is actually, you can even have them, this one here captures my screen. So you could even have it, I don't know why, but somebody would want to spy on my screen, but you could. So this is the image that you're getting. There's actually a camera right behind me that's being uploaded. Typically, you'll put a caption on here, too. That's very important. We do that on the CubeCam so you know what time and where. And this is the Kilt Cam. We actually had this under the table a little earlier on, capturing... No, really, we did.
I know, we did.
And
some spectacular photos, ladies and gentlemen, we hope never make
Now, this one, you might notice, this is a DV camera. And people ask us all the time, can you... nice image of nothing. And can you use a DV cam? You can if you have the right software. This happens to be hooked up to my Macintosh, to my PowerBook, via the FireWire cable. And that's how DV cams output data. Now, a nice thing about using a camcorder is the quality is going to be much better than an inexpensive camera.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I'm using on the PowerBook, I'm using software called Oculus. Can you switch over to the, I don't know what, here it is, on the iBook. This is Oculus software. And it's very similar. I mean, it's configured in much the same way. You have to say where the FTP site is, where it's going. In this case, it's going to Leoville. You also have to, or should do some captioning, which I think is a really good idea. Here we've called it KilpCam and we put the date. If I double click this, I'll show you how easy it is. You can change the caption to have, these are little variables, so we can input the date, the time. This software is really nice.
So
this is Oculus.
the images.
Yeah, almost all that webcam software.
I caught my child at home getting into the cookie jar.
Well, people want to know what
time.
time is that image. Yeah. This one does some other neat things. This is the one that allows me to capture this desktop screen. Also, I have, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner, I have an actual clock, which is kind of cool. And they have different clocks I can load in there, grandfather clock, or a modern clock, or a sunburst clock. That's a plug-in. And then also, this is cool. This is the current weather. So you see it's 50 to 7 degrees and sunny.
This is what it looks like inside the house. What if you were outside the house?
They have other plugins too. You can have different gauges and stuff. But this is just one program. This is a Mac program called Oculus. We use Webcam 32 on the Windows machine. And in fact, for the CubeCam, we use SpyCam. Those are 3 different programs, 3 different people, similar functions. They all have the same thing. Capture an image periodically, upload it to a website, and then you have to write the page that will automatically refresh. And that's a meta tag. We have the details on how to do that on our website, because you do have to do some special HTML so that the page will refresh. What I do on my site is actually have you click the image and it opens a special window so that the window just refreshes. There's also, Webcam 32 comes with some Java code.
It's like
It'll
a
do
little Leo movie on your desktop.
You can even do movies. You can do time lapse. You can have it, when you click that, it gives you the last 30 or 24 hours of what that camera saw.
Very nice.
Some fun stuff. It's really fun to play with. And as you can see, because the CubeCam is going crazy. People love the CubeCam. People seem to enjoy this stuff.
This crazy stuff.
I guess we're all voyeurs at heart. Go to thescreensavers.com to get the full instructions on how to set up your own SpyCam. It's really a lot of fun. Joining us now, speaking of SpyCams, via Intel's NetCam network, it's jargon juggernaut himself, Gareth Brandwood from Wired Magazine. Hello, Gareth.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Gareth, you've got a NetCam. You ever tempted to set up a SpyCam?
No, that does not interest me at all, to tell you the truth. I don't mind looking at some other people's, but I don't really want people to be looking at me.
The internet is all about giving back, Gareth. If you've been looking at other people, you got to give back. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do it, but we want you to. So let's talk about jargon. Gareth writes, of course, the regular Jargon Watch column every month in Wired Magazine, and which means he's got his finger on the pulse of jargon in this country.
We try.
What's new this month?
My first term is biosurveillance, which is a rather disturbing term. That's the practice of sort of globally monitoring a city's hospital admission records, looking for possible spikes in symptoms that could indicate a bioweapons attack. It's also been called hospital surveillance, but it's the same thing, biosurveillance.
Who does that? Is it federal agencies or?
Yeah, I guess the CDC.
Okay. Biosurveillance. I'm glad somebody's doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest with you.
So what else have you heard, Gareth?
Well, my next one is parasitic computing, which is sort of the illegal answer to distributed computing, which screensaver viewers have probably heard about, like SETI at home, where they use the excess processing cycles on your computer to look for ETs.
But you give them permission to do that.
Yeah, under that circumstance, distributed computing, give them permission. Parasitic computing is the same thing, but somebody is surreptitiously using your processor downtime for calculating things like cracking password codes and things like that.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I guess so. It's a term. I guess it's being done somehow.
I know Net Zero at one point modified, the free, or no, it was Juno. I'm sorry, Juno, the free internet service provider modified their service contract to allow them to do that. But I don't believe they ever did do that.
We have a segment coming up on that.
Are we going to do it?
Sort of like the gnarly cousin of spyware.
I don't like it.
No.
And then
now there's another term called parasitic grids, which people shouldn't get confused with that. That's the volunteer use of opening your Wi-Fi network and broadband.
I love that.
Yeah, that's called parasitic computing, which the people who are involved in that don't really like the name because of the obvious negative association.
No, and that one you're doing voluntarily. I think that's great. In fact, what do they call that? You had that on before, wilding, right? When you're looking for Wi-Fi networks. You're wilding. And then finally, pre-slammed cars. What is a pre-slammed? Is that a car that's been in a wreck before?
Yeah, really. Well, slamming is an old street slang for adding flashy cosmetics, souping up your engine, and so forth to a new car. So automakers are trying to anticipate what owners might want, nifty upgrades. So, for instance, Mazda has something called a Protege MP3, which comes what's called factory slammed with a souped up engine, a lowered suspension, and I think it's a 240-watt MP3 stereo system.
Right. Dealers have done that for years. I remember when I bought my Geo, it had some sort of Fakatka alarm system in it, which I didn't want. And he said, well, all right, it's already in there. I'll just take the key. Okay, thanks. So pre-slamming the car.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny that there's actually a car called the Protege MP3.
It's a very silly
Who'd have thunk it?
We've come a long way, haven't we, Gareth?
Really.
Hey, thanks so much. I love talking to you. And it's a wonderful column. We read it religiously every month in Wired Magazine. Gareth Brandwood, ladies and gentlemen. And you'll find definitions for these words and more at thescreensavers.com and in Wired Magazine on newsstands soon. Gareth's column.
Coming up next?
Yes, it's time to get Trekkie. The Twisted Lister and his pointed ears are here.
Isn't that great?
Said that.
Number 3, one of the geekiest things you can do is learn the Klingon language. But there's one thing that's even geekier, writing a Klingon programming language.
Oh, man.
It's called Varrock. Somebody has written an entire programming language based on C. Varrock. So you know something about programming. Here's some controls. So instead of if yes, what we have is and etc. Boy, that's a great use of someone's time. Way to go. Number 2, you know, it must be hard when your love for Star Trek is as strong as your love for God. One solution is to become a prayer warrior in the Trek for God movement. It is the dream of the founder, who calls himself Lieutenant Commander Picard 017, to develop a new type of fellowship, adding the wonders of God.
That must be his AOL name. I don't think that's
God's work is never done. So join Trek for God.
Who's 016?
If you feel empty in your life. And number 1, I don't know. The UBS Casual is a starship that's lost its license and now serves as a massive bar that roams throughout galaxies. At least that's what, see, it's got a martini glass. So that's what the founders and the captains believe, as do the hundreds of Trekkies who attend the Star Trek Slosh Fest. Oh my God, Trekkies in a hot tub! Ah! Good work, guys.
Not much room for the water in there. You don't want these guys at the helm. Holy moly. If you want to learn more about these highly disturbing Star Trek fan sites, read Martin's article at thescreensavers.com. Megan, do you have the preliminary poll results?
I do. The question was, is the internet the enemy of tyranny? And we have 87% say yes, 13% say no to tyranny, down with tyranny. You've still got 24 hours to vote. And now the instant message quote of the day. You can send us your instant messages using the name TSS Thought. Umaro says, if you try to fail and you succeed, what have you really done?
Now's a great time to call 1-800-GATEWAY, because right now you can get a free Epson printer, scanner, or Gateway PC camera with the purchase of select
motherboards. As a matter of fact, there's a bunch out there. One of our favorites in nantech.com. You can also check Tom's Hardware. Hard OCP. I'm not sure if Kyle and those guys have done a motherboard roundup in a while, but once you check those out, nantech.com, Tom's Hardware, and Hard OCP.
Let's put this one out because I still get this. Guys, I recently got an email from a friend warning me that I have a sulfenbk virus. You know, that's that sulfnbk.exe virus. And people search for the file and they find it. They go, oh my gosh, it's a normal Windows file. That's a hoax. There's no such virus. You don't need to erase it, okay?
That, ladies and gentlemen, is it for this edition of The Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Leo Laporte. Thanks to our guest, Rodney Ash.